Today, we're reacting to the Nintendo Switch 2 announcement, talking about the Elon Musk fake gamer controversy, and are Skyrim fans about to get a huge surprise this June? Stick around to find out. Welcome, friends, to this week's episode of Good Playing With You, the weekly gaming podcast. I'm Dan Whitehill, and as always, I'm joined by my attractive army of Matts, Matt Lord.
Hey, how's it going?
And Matthew Molding.
Hey now.
We've got a lot of great stories this week, so let's jump into the headlines of the week. All right, gentlemen, first off, Nintendo Switch 2 is finally announced. Whoo, doggy.
Wow.
It took forever.
Wow.
I know, right?
I feel like a boil was just lanced.
Okay, I think it's a little bit more of a happier occasion.
Yeah.
But
boiling.
It has been something that's been growing. So finally, and it's wild because the rumors and the leaks, they just wouldn't stop coming. And finally, they really hit a fever pitch this past week, and they turned out to be correct, at least so far, because that Switch reveal hit today, just like it said. For anyone who missed it, we're going to put it on the YouTube video, so feel free to watch it there. But essentially, it's what we talked about last week. I mean, it's a little bit bigger, better. It looks black. It's got the magnetic Joy-Cons. It's got the sleek beveling around on the sides. It's got the Type C like port. It looks bigger and better. And that could be part of the problem because I'm not sure what their gimmick is and where they're going with all of this. They didn't even launch with any games or any sort of information. This announcement was really more of a teaser to the full announcement, which we will be getting April 2nd. So it's like an invitation to the full direct and reveal. Just something to whet our appetite. But it was definitely spoiled. What did you guys think about all of this? What was your reaction to the teaser?
Well, Molding.
Go ahead, Matt.
Okay.
No, go you go.
Yeah, well, I gotta say, the design of it is sleek and sexy. I like the look of this console. Now, has it gotten a little too big? It was the Switch, the OG Switch, the perfect size for portability and being able to dock it, no problem. Those are some things that you got to consider. One other thing that I feel like I just have to point out, because I know a lot of people are talking about it, the way the Joy-Cons now attach to the system, there's a little like, I don't even know what it would be like.
Nubbin?
The nubbin that's in the system side that you got to plug the Joy-Con into. I think we're going to see a lot of failure points going on right at that little nubbin. And to me, being on the system side, and that's going to cause problems, that makes me super nervous for like kids to be playing this console. Like if they're going to be just, racking the Joy-Con in there, breaking that thing that's on the system side, you can't just go out and buy a Joy-Con. That's the one thing, like that's the key feature that I'm wondering if that's going to be a big pain point for this. I know we'll kind of go into all different things, but that is something that I just had to point out right away.
No, it's a great call out. The form factor definitely was a big part of this video, showing it off, and that's the main thing that they showed off. And then they teased at least Mario Kart 9, which we'll talk more about the games that are coming with it in 1 second. But first, Molding, what did you think about it? Was this enough to excite?
I'm going to go a little bit on Nintendo's defense, which I'm not usually on Nintendo's defense, is that whenever that there is a new Xbox or PlayStation console comes out, no one asks like, what's the gimmick? What's the gimmick for this new console? It's always like obvious that it's going to be a new, more powerful console, but we don't give Nintendo that same grace because they built themselves a little trouble by always having a gimmick for every single thing that they do. So now everyone's like, what is the gimmick that this is? And it's not immediately visible to see what it is. Now, in that trailer, they do have the Joy-Cons moving along the ground almost like they're racing. And we did talk about a few episodes ago that there might be some sort of I don't know, system where you use it as a mouse. And that totally look like those Joy-Cons are being used as kind of like mice. I don't know if that is the case or not. Of course, none of us do. But and even if it is, I don't know if that's a gimmick enough to make me interested. But I want to see the games. That's all I care about. I want to see what the games look like, and then I'll be interested.
I 100% agree, but I'm really happy that you called that out, the whole like mouse feature of it, because you're right. And it showed it on both sides, and they've got these little pads, it looked like, that went on the bottom of these things to make them move. So I was kind of convinced that that is exactly like you're spot on with these sorts of things. But it made me a bit concerned because how does one use those on the couch? So I'm like,
Yeah,
does this
you use
new
it on like
gimmick...
your pants, on your like your leg? Like,
Right?
what do you do? And can I do a Nintendo Pro controller? Will that have that same functionality?
I'm telling you guys, there's gonna be a peripheral, a lap little desk that you're just gonna be able to rock and roll with those little mouse
Maybe,
pointer
yeah.
things.
Could
I
be.
mean, if that is the case, hey, like I already said, I think we said it last episode. That's a fine gimmick, but to me, like playing real time strategy games will be much more enjoyable on the Switch. That is a feature I feel like a lot of systems could benefit from, having a little bit of a mouse feature. So if that's what it's going to be, I'm not going to be too upset about it.
A mouse and Arc would be really, really helpful. But I'm
You
not going
know?
to play Arc on this. So
No.
what does it matter?
Yeah.
One thing I found interesting about this was that they said that the Switch 2 would be backwards compatible to a degree. So that made me a
Yes, I
little
saw
bit
that little
nervous.
asterisk as well. It was...
Yes. But one of the things I wasn't sure on that they said was the digital software that we bought with our Nintendo IDs would also still be working as well. So that made me a little happy when it came to the software side.
Yeah, that's a good thing. It had to be backwards compatible in some way. I was seeing some chatter saying it might be just the Labo type of stuff that won't be backwards compatible, which made me breathe a sigh of relief,
Good
because
point.
if we're missing any content, like, I'm sure it would never be something like a Zelda or a Mario Kart, but I mean, even some of the third party games would be just totally tragic if it didn't carry over, essentially, because basically it looks like kind of the same console in a sense. So
Yep.
I agree.
the expectation of backwards compatibility is there.
And to me, I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. And like molding, I have to wait until the software comes out. We're really the ones, the couch commandos, that play on our TVs for the majority of the time. But Lord, you are the one that loves the handheld features. Does this stack up or interest you as much of a Steam Deck, or is this sort of like less powerful, less interesting?
That's the age-old question at this point. What do you do if you have a Steam Deck? Do you want to jump into a system that's going to be a little less powerful, and you're stuck behind the Nintendo games? Like, it's a question that I'm not sure if I fully know the answer to yet. I really, honestly, I love the look of it, to be honest. I feel like it looks very cool. I feel like it has like that iPhone eye-catching sexiness to it that makes me very intrigued. And like I already mentioned, if it is a little too big and it's not quite as portable, as that's the one drawback with the Steam Deck. I think it's a little too big. It's not that portable. And when these systems keep growing, you're not just going to be able to, there's no pocketability. So you have to have like a backpack or a case. And then you just are stuck. Like I mean, that's kind of course you can take it with you, but I just would love for these things not to get too big. You
I'm
can,
the exact opposite. The bigger, the better for me. To be honest with you, when I was on
Dan's a size
vacation during
queen.
Christmas, it's true. But on the flight, my Switch was competing with my iPad. And to be honest with you, my iPad won out because it was a bigger screen, easier to use, and I just snapped it into the seat in front of me, and I kept tapping. I probably bothered the person's
Oh,
head, but I
God.
didn't care.
So annoying.
I know I
That's
was that guy.
hilarious.
Sorry. So for me, bigger is better, but it really does come down to the game. So let's talk about real quickly. Now, none of the games were confirmed other than Mario Kart. We think they didn't really confirm Mario Kart 9, but they showed off footage that was new graphics and it looked like it. So yeah, it was Mario Kart 9. And it looked great. In fact, some people were even saying, is that 24 players? Is that, they were looking at the footage really closely, watching some of the character redesigns like on Donkey Kong. So Mario Kart 9 sounds like they're going to be beefing up the online stuff and making it a little bit bigger and more interesting. So we'll wait until the official reveal for that. But while, the according to leakers, like when it comes to the lineup or the other software, we're looking at, now this is not confirmed, of course, but this is according to leaks. We're looking at, Mario Kart, Metroid Prime 4, and then later on in the year, we're assuming that actually that this console is coming out in June, by the way. That's also the rumors. So the preview in April and then the release in June. That new Mario would hit in December. Then third-party games, Final Fantasy VII Remake would be probably a launch title, followed by Rebirth next year. Assassin's Creed Mirage is rumored to be a launch title, while Assassin's Creed Shadows allegedly is one of those in development ports that just won't be ready for launch and is probably won't be there until early next year or the end of this year. Also, the leaker said that Ubisoft had more than a half dozen games in the pipeline for the Switch 2, with ports from the Division series, Rainbow Six Siege, and a Mario Rabbids. No surprise there. That's a safe bet. We also heard Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, Halo Master Chief Collection, and Microsoft Flight Simulator from the Xbox team. So a lot of software that's going to be coming from third parties, but also they're also on other consoles. So based on this lineup, what are your thoughts?
Metal Gear? You got me a Metal Gear. That sounds good to me. I mean, that's an awesome take. Launching with Metroid, though, to me, that's like, that steals the show because Prime 4, like, we've been waiting long enough to get our hands on that. So please launch with that title. I will be so happy.
None of it really does anything for me. I have to say, it doesn't. None of those are real console buyers. Just no,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Well,
Like,
the
I like
thing,
Metroid, but I'm not going to spend $399 to play Metroid.
Agreed. And that was my next question of how
Yeah.
much do you guys expect this to cost? Malding, you already tipped your hand at $399.
Yep.
Lord, what do you think?
I mean, I think it's guaranteed to be $399, but I think there's still a possibility that it's 500.
I know. I'm nervous about
Ooh.
that. Yes, I'm
I think
nervous.
so. I don't think I think there's a very real possibility this is gonna be a $500 console.
What did the Switch launch at? Do we remember?
I think
No,
$299, right, Dan?
I
$299.
think so.
I'm pretty
Yeah, so
sure.
the $399 would make sense for me. That's what I'm sticking to.
Yeah.
I agree, but also for me, it's really going to determine on the Nintendo software. I do not buy Nintendo products for third-party games. They always look better and run better on every other console, like a
Yep.
PlayStation or an Xbox. There's no reason to put them to buy them on a Nintendo, so I won't. It really will depend on their first-party offering, and as you all know, I'm a sucker for a Super Mario game, so
Yeah.
so if that's what's coming this December, then I might have to jump in. Just depends on, what game it is, what it looks like, and that sort of stuff. But I do think, Lord, you're right there. So it could be some failure points in the software or the hardware, especially with that back stand and the
Yeah.
Joy-Con. So it's definitely a wait and see, I guess, for all of us, which is interesting.
Yeah. No, for
When it
sure.
comes to the software, though, I gotta be honest with you, I'm more interested in the game that Molding brought up this week that has to do with Skyrim. And I know it's not Skyrim.
Oh,
It's in the
yes.
it's in the Skyrim family, the Elder Scrolls family. But Molding, you had a great story about it.
Yeah, so this comes from Ephrain on MP First, which is a site that I have not heard about before or looked at before. But they said that's Bethesda. So back in September 2023, a Bethesda release schedule was leaked, mentioning Dishonored 3, a new Doom game, and even a remake/remaster of The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. While Bethesda has yet to officially announce the Oblivion remake, reliable leaker Nate the Hate, who I think leaked the Switch 2 stuff,
Exactly.
right? It's the
Yes.
same guy, mentioned it again this month on his latest podcast, stating that it's set to be released in June of this year. MP First now confirms the project is indeed real. A mistake made by a former Virtuos employee has provided them with not just confirmation of its existence, but also insights into gameplay improvements set to be implemented to the original game. A description of the project provided on the site confirms that the title is being developed using Unreal Engine 5 and will be fully remade, hinting at significant changes in this reimagining compared to the original game. Brief descriptions on the site of the 6 gameplay systems that will be reworked are also provided, that are stamina, sneak, blocking, archery, hit reaction, and the HUD. These pieces of information dispel any doubt that this is merely a port to another graphic engine like Grove Street Games did with the definitive edition, quote unquote, of the old Grand Theft Auto trilogy. Instead, it will be a full-fledged remake that reworks everything seen in the original title. These doubts make sense if we recall an old list of Microsoft versus FTC documents from 2022, which listed an Oblivion remaster that we assume eventually transformed into the remake. So this got me super excited because a little backstory. Back in high school, there was Daggerfall, which was, I think that was Elder Scrolls 2, which I absolutely loved and have great memories of playing with my friend Matt and other friends from high school at his place. And then I had no idea that there was any connection between that and Oblivion. When I got my hands on Oblivion, I didn't get to play the
Morrowind.
one in between. Morrowind,
Morrowind.
thank you. I didn't get to play that one because it was on the original Xbox and I didn't have it. But I just have fantastic, wonderful memories of playing this game. You step into it, it was like nothing I had ever played before and really set me on a path of being infatuated with the Elder Scrolls games like I am today. So this is a day one purchase for me, no question in my mind. Actually, it might even come out on Game Pass. We don't know. But it's that it would be I'm almost giddy and speechless because I'm so excited to play this game on a remaster.
And did you mention the rumored release date?
No, did I say that in there?
Well, I believe in the article it said it
No.
was June of this year. Like it
Yeah,
was going to
June of
be
this
a
year.
surprise.
Yeah. I don't think we have an exact date, but yes, June
Okay.
is what they said. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's so
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I
my
don't know.
life will become Oblivion as soon as this comes out because I definitely sank some time into the. I used to actually just watch my friend play the OG Oblivion back on the 360 like all day. Just like this is so crazy. I didn't even because it was one of those things where it just like I feel like looked so different than the other games you've come across. You're just like,
Absolutely. And
this
it
is
played differently
crazy.
too because it just set you in there and was like, all right, go
Yeah.
go find out what to do next. And I'd never experienced that before.
Yeah, because I did play some Morrowind back on the OG Xbox, but I was like, I don't know, it
too.
didn't hit like
No.
Oblivion did. So I'm very excited
And
for a
it's
remaster.
very difficult to go back to Morrowind
Mhm.
after all of our games that we've played now to go back and play something like that. It's a little rough around the edges, but
Well,
beloved.
okay, real quickly though, for someone who only came and fell in love with the series with Skyrim, can you kind of set my level of expectations for this? Because I know it's in the same universe. I'm super excited for it. I love a remake, not a remaster. But there are certain things about Skyrim that I absolutely adore, like the shouts and the dragons and all that sort of stuff. Does this have any of that? What should I expect?
I don't remember shouts. I don't remember any dragons. It's been a long time since I played. Yeah, there was a really interesting system with talking to people and convincing them to do something that you want them to do to get them on your side. That was a really
I don't even like talking to you guys.
It was you would really you would really hate that system. So hopefully that's part of the speech system that they're overhauling. I don't remember
I feel
pretty
like
much the
the
comparisons
combat.
to Skyrim was the combat, the exploration, that is all very Skyrim, kept that. But it's its own game.
I'm also with you on that, Malding. I think there is quite. I mean, the dialogue is definitely something of note. I think the dialogue is just really good in that game as well. I think that was like something that was really praised for, was how well they did the dialogue, and they
Yeah.
made it like super enjoyable to actually have these conversations, where in other games it could just be a drag.
Yeah. And then there are factions, the same way Skyrim had factions, that you do quest lines with a certain
I like
faction
that.
and get it. So that, I think there's like 4 or 5 different ones of those factions too. So
Okay, I'm definitely getting more hyped and excited for this, but if it's going to have the situation where a shopkeeper only has like $1,000 and I have to sit outside and fast forward time to the next morning to get
if they
the
do.
more money, it's literally going to shred my soul, and I
You
will give
just
this
go to
game the
another
middle finger.
shopkeeper and sell stuff at that shopkeeper,
It
Dan. You
shouldn't
don't
be
sit at the
so
same
much work.
shopkeeper.
Why do I have to do the work? Why
Will
can't
you
they
level
fix
up
their
your
fucking
speech so
game?
they have more money for you? Oh my gosh. Just learn
Fix
how to
their
play the
game.
game.
Is Dan saying he just wants a shopkeeper that has
Yeah,
infinite money right
he just
now?
has unlimited
Dan,
money that
come
you
on.
just go
Well,
unload
look,
all of his stuff.
if
Dan.
Bethesda's gonna put trash in their game and I'm gonna grab it all, I'm gonna want to sell it. Otherwise, don't put trash in your game.
That's actually a
No,
fair point.
disagree.
But I think
Oh, of course, Matt thinks it's a fair point because it was the last point he heard. So
You
Matt
know
agrees
what?
with it.
All right, Malding, your point now, and I'll go ahead
My
and
point is, you got to get better at the game, and you got to level up the speech. That's why they have those things in
you
the
know what,
speech
Malding?
category.
That's
Yeah,
pretty
there
true.
we go. There we go. I love it. Matt Lord, you're my favorite.
I mean, we can't have merchants with infinite money, Dan. I'm with you.
Well, then
You
don't
just
put
can't.
infinite trash in your game for me to swipe. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
all right.
We can
Okay,
agree
good
to
point.
disagree. But one of the things Oblivion did that was very cool that I wish Skyrim would have done is you can create your own spells in Oblivion, which was really awesome. There was a spell system where you could like mix a fireball with like a blizzard and create like a fireball blizzard. Like that was really awesome. And I miss
you know
that.
what? I'm just realizing I remember the Oblivion DLC being very good too. I'm wondering if they're going to package that in.
I mean, they better give you that horse armor for free.
Yeah, they better give you horse armor, the DLC. So
Yeah,
I'm
there
excited. I
was
mean,
some good
that's right around the
DLC.
corner.
Yeah, I'm
Let's
definitely
go.
getting excited. I'll wait and see. But I loved Skyrim despite the whatever. Moving on to another topic that's not quite as funny. Something honestly just triggered me this week that I wanted to bring up to you guys just to find like what your perspective is this, because I'm totally dead serious about this one. I noticed on GameSpot and Kotaku, they both ran the same article quoting some analyst, because there's always some a-hole analyst telling the industry what they think, and they don't even play video games or know anything, but saying that we could, quote, save the games industry by raising the prices. And that triggered me because I don't understand why these blogs that should be doing responsible journalism are constantly trying to push price hikes for us. Here's an example. I pulled the articles both from Kotaku and GameSpot. I want to read from the Kotaku one. It's the article, Could Pricing Grand Theft Auto 6 at $100 Help Save the Game Industry? And this is written by Ethan Gotch. It says, the price of games has barely budged in 2 decades. Video games have never been more prevalent or elaborate, but the industry that creates them is currently facing unprecedented headwinds among spiraling costs, intense competition, and stagnating player base. A new market analyst suggests that, and there's always a marketing analyst, suggests that breaking the current $70 price barrier on games could help solve some of these challenges, and that Grand Theft Auto 6 could be the one to do it. Quote, in 2025, GTA 6's impact on player hours and revenues will be mixed as it launches console only and severely cannibalizes hours/spend that would go to other titles, end quote. Reads a slide from venture capitalist analyst and author Matthew Ball's presentation, The State of Video Gaming in 2025. But there is hope that Take-Two will price GTA 6 at $80 or even $100, thereby breaking a key price barrier and enabling the rest of the market to move up too. This prospect is one of several factors Ball thinks could help contribute to the future growth of the gaming industry, alongside things like PC gaming, handhelds, the Switch 2, and new genres and franchises, and overhauls to mobile marketplace regulation. Take-Two might not need the extra money, but raising the price of GTA 6 could give cover to other companies so that they can raise their prices as well. The increasingly hollowed out middle ground could go from charging 40 and 50 to 60 and 70, so the reasoning goes. Then again, in the current zero-sum environment, raising the price cap could also just drive even more money away from smaller companies and lesser-known franchises. This isn't the first time that someone's brought up the idea of GTA 6 potentially breaking the current $70 price barrier, and then they go on to quote Take-Two CEO, who is the publisher, Strauss Zelnick, being ambiguous and excited about pricing options. I don't want to even go talk about the rest of the article because I'm already triggered enough if you can't tell from the sarcasm that I've been reading and the tone that I've been reading this article in. The problem here is they fail to note that these companies are making more money on digital games, and the fact that they're not having to ship these things to stores. They are making much more money now on microtransactions than they've ever made before. There is no doubt that the industry is having a rough time right now with game costs and that sort of stuff happening. I do acknowledge that. But this solution of the most popular game charging more money is ridiculous. Why give more money to rich people? This is the exact same thing as trickle-down economics. And we know for a fact that the more money you give rich people, the more money rich people take. It doesn't trickle down. This is the most ridiculous thing. And I think it's insulting that these supposedly gamer blogs that are looking out for gamers and are staffed by gamers are putting out articles that are justifying price increases. And I don't think it's going to happen now. But what they are doing as they're kind of getting the conversation started so that when the next generation happens, you can bet your ass we're going to be paying $80 per game. And that's truly what pisses me off, because they're supposed to be allies, but instead they're defending the corporations and they're justifying price increase where I don't see it's necessary. So sorry, a little bit triggered on that one, but I wanted to get all that out. And maybe it's just me. So I would love to hear from you guys and see, what is your perspective? Maybe you can shine some light on something that I'm not thinking of that can help me calm down.
Well, no, I love when Dan's locked in. Like, let
I
me
know,
just
I do
get
too.
Dan locked in all the time. Well, I hate to say it, but this is just more proof that these gaming journalist blogs are totally owned by these gaming companies that already exist. So they just tell them, hey, we want to raise these prices. Can we just get this like random analysis up and then you can quote it and then we can all run with it. And then it won't be a surprise when we just say, hey, this game's now $100. So that, I think there's a lot of back and forth going on where I just think that they don't want you to really talk about that much. And then also, I would love the article that is the counterpoint and the proof that the $70 game doesn't work. We can't just say, like, this $100 game is going to do it. Like, okay, well, what happened to the $70 game and what has that done? I'm sure there's companies out there that are making money hand over fist. Even Helldivers made money hand over fist with their $40 game. So it seems crazy to just all of a sudden be like, nope, we need $100 game right here, right now. And that's going to save the industry. That just doesn't make any sense to me.
I agree.
So
Malding?
I have two paths. One path being your first question, which is these gaming journalist sites inoculating the public to this price hike. I totally agree with what Matt just said. I know that isn't very exciting, but yes, I think these like PC Gamer, Kotaku, I think that they're in the bag a bit for these video games. And also, they probably get them all for free too. The people that work at these places, they
100.
probably don't have to go
Definitely.
out and pay for this. So that's one part. I do think that they're kind of preparing the pavement for this drive. And then on the other side of things, all three of us would pay $100 for GTA. I would. I know you two would too. There's no question. But not every game is GTA. So I don't want to pay $100 for a new Assassin's Creed game, which Assassin's Creed would definitely hike their prices up to match that. It's the quality of the game that makes the difference for me in the price, not the fact that it is frankly just a game. And then on the other side, or on the other hand, is that there are games that are already $120 because they've siphoned all this DLC stuff out of the main game so that they can add it on and increase the price of it anyway. So these games are already selling. You can get like a legendary edition of some game and it's $110, $120 that includes all these DLCs and stuff that has been stripped out of the game that they're just trying to sell. And aside from all of that, I want to point out another thing that I've noticed is a lot of these games after like 3 months or so, they stop selling you the base game. They stop selling you that base game for $70 and it's not even an option anymore. Now they're selling it for $70, but it now includes the DLC, like the first DLC pack. And you can't get the basic game anymore. Now you have to buy it and the DLC. And it's just infuriating. It's just something I've really noticed lately when I'm looking for just like, oh, I just want to buy, what's a good example? Mortal Kombat 1. And you can't find it now. It's now Mortal Kombat 1 plus like 20 DLCs with it. Anyway, that's my rant. I just got a little sweaty.
That's a good point. And I mean, I would consider $100 as long as I can get the physical copy. Like, honestly, like I'm with you, Dan. Paying an insane amount of money for these digital games is so mind-boggling to me. I know we've gone on our physical media crusade on this podcast, kind of led by me. I don't know why, but I feel so strongly about it. And to know that probably a lot of the sales coming up, unfortunately, are going to be all digital. So they should factor that in. Like, come on, it's going to be a digital only era. Why not? Why bump it up? Like, who is that money going to go to for real? So
it goes to the CEOs.
Yeah,
exactly. That's exactly where it goes. They cut their staff and then they just pocket the money and they take it home. And it's really unfortunate.
Yep.
So
that's what will save the video game industry. That regulation of how much a CEO can make. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
No, that
and I don't think it's up to the players to save the industry. You know what? It's up to the industry to save itself. Make better games, get better tools, make things a little bit more efficient. Don't blame the users of the software and stuff like that and then try and pull more money out of us because you already are. It doesn't stop. It's almost like Fortnite in a way where it's like, oh, they got battle pass. Oh, they got 4 battle passes. Oh, they've got all of these skins. No, they've got music. Oh, they've got shoes. It doesn't stop. They keep finding little ways to make us spend more money and ask for. Of course, I don't, but it's there and it's just annoying and it won't stop. And I feel like these big guys don't have the problem. GTA doesn't need to ask for the money because GTA doesn't have the problem. And if these smaller guys have the problem, that's on them, But I feel like all of the people are like nudging, Take-Two and Rockstar being like, hey, you do it, go for it. They're sending signals.
This is a message to do it to break the dam, which is what they want to have happen.
Exactly. And this article isn't really necessarily intended for us. It's intended for, Rockstar saying, hey guys, this is what you should do. It's just, you know what? And no one stands up for the little guy, which is like us, and who have to actually pay these costs. And it just pisses me off. And it just encourages people to adopt this behavior where it's this wait and see mentality. And it's like, you wait and see, and then you wait for it to go on sale, and you wait for the bugs, and then maybe the sale isn't big enough. So I still, I've been waiting for Assassin's Creed Mirage until it hits like $20. It hits $20. I'm like, man, now $15. They're doing it to themselves now. We're not going to buy day one, if they're going to have these prices, and they're going to have to deal with it.
Yeah, that's why the indie industry is popping off. That's just, you don't have to worry about those types of things, which is like it's just too bad where the triple A is at. It's just it's a head shaker.
I agree. Well, one gamer that doesn't have to worry about the price of video games is Elon Musk. But is he
Yes.
really a gamer? That is the question.
Oh,
And Malding, you have this story.
this dude. This is going to be the most gossipy story I've ever it is so convoluted. But here, this is also from Ethan Gotcha Kotaku, which I saw kind of also go down on Twitter this week. So Elon Musk and Asmongold are fighting after the streamer accused him of being a fake gamer. Elon Musk's much publicized gaming prowess has come under intense scrutiny in recent days, and he's not taking it too well. The tech billionaire unfollowed Twitch streamer and YouTuber Zach Osmongold Hoyt on Twitter and proceeded to leak private DMs between the two after Hoyt joined a chorus of gaming content creators calling Musk a fraud when it came to his alleged Path of Exile 2 obsession. Musk's recent claims of having one of the highest ranked characters in Path of Exile 2's hardcore mode began to unravel as soon as he shared footage of himself playing the hit action RPG in real time. How could the CEO of multiple companies, who is now also a close advisor to the incoming Trump administration and constantly posting on social media, pull something like that off? Well, he probably didn't. He probably did it by paying for other people to play for him. At least that was one conclusion reached by other Path of Exile 2 players, including streamers Casual Crip and Quinn69TV. They called out the way it looked like he was playing the game for the first time when streaming it earlier this month, and was seemingly unaware of basic facts about how its loot progression system works. Zach Osmongold Hoyt was one of the biggest content creators to call Musk out and went so far as to say that he would begin streaming on the tech billionaire's platform if he could prove that he got his hardcore mode Path of the Exile 2 character to level 97 all by himself, and the character ended up dying last week, so it doesn't really matter. That was on January 12th. By January 15th, people began to notice that Musk had unfollowed Hoyt on Twitter. Musk then went a step further and leaked internal DMs between the two and accused Hoyt of being a puppet. This is, quote, Asmon behaves like a maverick independent, but in reality has to ask his boss permission before he can do anything. That's my impression of Musk. He tweeted overnight. He is not his own man. The world's richest man went on to argue that he's proven his gaming bona fides across hundreds of live streams and accused Hoyt of being good at caustic commentary, quote unquote, but bad at actual video games. Hoyt responded, leaking my DMs is one thing, but this is absolutely uncalled for. And this all played out on Twitter. So this big baby of a man just getting in a fight with a streamer. He has billions of dollars, richest man on the planet Earth. And this is what he's spending his time doing. And he's going to be one step away from the president of the United States. It's just really talk about gaming being crazy. This was the craziest story to me this week, way more than the Switch 2.
I think Elon I think he just realizes that it's so cool to be in with the gamers right now that he had no problem just paying somebody to
Of
play.
course.
Am I surprised by this? Like, no. Is it embarrassing for him that he went and streamed and acted like an idiot? That is embarrassing. And then I did see this beef going back and forth. Man, what? Like removing the blue check mark and stuff, that is like very childish and concerning. So that is just it's strange. And I mean, the quote, he's not his own man, is like, that's a hilariously weird quote. I read that a few times. I'm like, am I missing something on this one? It's just weird. And to try and flex after you've paid people to play your account is just like, it's almost as bad as like
psychotic.
cheating. Yeah. It's crazy. It's
something
a bad
a crazy person does. And we gamers pretty much knew that that Elon wasn't really knowing what he was doing when he showed his Elden Ring build last year. And it was just some ridiculous that no one who played the game any amount of time would ever run with this build. And he was playing. This guy doesn't know what he's doing. He just, it's to say, yes, he just wants to be cool. Quote, I'm using air quotes for people who can't hear me. Cool.
Yes. Totally trying to be cool, and trying to be cool with in a game like Path of Exile, where the knowledge you have to have for this game is so deep, and you're trying to come in and think you can like fool other players who've probably just grinded this game forever is like, that's crazy.
Hubris.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
very hubris.
I know from his like interviews and that sort of stuff that he grew up playing Quake. So there's no doubt that he actually is a gamer. I just don't think he's a gamer to the degree that he is saying. He is, just, spitting a lot of smoke when it comes to his play because, the amount of time that would take to do these runs. And then, like you said, like the footage and stuff, him missing loot because he doesn't have his loot filter on, because if he doesn't even have a loot filter, like, and little facts and stuff like that of people pointing out when he's playing, like missing things completely. So it's like, I have no doubt that the man plays video games, but to the degree he says that, I do doubt.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Unless he already has a brain chip and he's somehow playing behind the scenes and we just don't even know.
Unless he's tweeting and then his little brain chip is just
honestly, that's the one thing I was like, well, maybe he already has the brain chip and he's gaming out while he's doing all this stuff.
Sign me up.
Me too. Jeez.
All right, we got to move on to the topics of the week. But before we get there, I did want to call out one trailer. So we have been talking about, the goods, the bads, the big games, the small games. But I wanted to put this game onto the radar of all of our listeners because it's one that I'm super excited about. And I think that we are going to hopefully be talking about. It is called the Blood of Dawn Walker. And why this is significant is because this is a new action RPG from former Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk 2077 developers, and they just released a really slick new cinematic trailer that came out this week. I mean, it looked absolutely fantastic. This guy's running through the forest and he's holding his little sister, and his little sister's all messed up in the face because she's got like the plague and stuff. They get to a church, he puts her down, but then this evil army comes and they're trying to get rid of the plague so that they want to murder her. And then the older brother doesn't want him to murder her. And then they're like, gonna kill her. And then all of a sudden, right before they can kill her, out of nowhere, like this vampire character comes in to save the day, and the vampire killer character starts killing all of the army people. And then he actually kills the big general that's gonna be the big bad guy, and then he saves the little girl and heals her disease. And then the older brother, I guess the ones that we would be playing, seems like he gets some sort of power or something. We're not sure. Then the vampire says this whole monologue about I'm life and I'm death. He takes off, and all of the army turns and then eats the general. So it was cool. It was definitely edgy, fun. It looked really interesting, and I just wanted to call attention to it because it is definitely something that I think that looks kind of like Assassin's Creed meets The Witcher. We saw a brief glimpse of gameplay right at the end with him sliding down a building, kind of like an Ezio character, but then the music was very Witcher-esque, and he was punching people, and it was very action RPG. So I'm super pumped about it. Did you guys see the trailer? What'd you think?
I say this now pretty frequently, but this is the grittiness I wanted out of Dragon Age.
Yes.
This is what I wanted out of that. Yeah. But yes, it looked fantastic.
Yeah, I'm with you, Malding. It looked great. That was how you did a trailer. It was really cool. I felt like it told a story that kind of definitely captured my attention. Dan was like, watch this 4-minute watch this 4-minute trailer. It's like 4 minutes. My God, this is like going to take forever. But I was really into it. So that's saying something. And then just the side note about the vampire crew that came in, I'm like, tell me if I'm wrong, but it looked like you might have like a tank vampire, a psychic vampire, kind of like the leading general, like soldier. So maybe you are, you're like a Geralt character, and then you also have these vampires that you can control, and each one does something different. Like that would be cool.
I don't know. There's definitely going to be a bigger reveal. I like where you're going with it, and I'm super pumped. Yeah. There's definitely going to be a bigger reveal coming. I just want to throw it on our listeners' radar.
What I don't want it to be is a live service game.
Yes.
That's what I don't want it to be.
Yes.
I agree with that one. All right, let's pivot right now to the listener emails of the week. First up, Molding, was this your question?
Nope, not the first one. I think the first one was Lords.
Lord, what's your topic for
Yes.
this week?
You know what? I went ahead and I was just thinking, I'm like, man, I love a good gaming fantasy. Because I have plenty of those now that I'm a dad, and I'm just like, man, I just like think about gaming. I'm like, what a good time it
It
was when I was
used to
able to
be.
game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, whenever I wanted. So, like, what is your gaming, video game fantasy that won't come true? And I can kick us off because this is the one that I love. I will be on Amazon and I'll look at these portable like little displays that are like maybe like 14 inches. And I'm like, man, I love the idea of getting one of those, putting it next to the bed so I can just like play either like the Switch or maybe even like the Xbox, and I'll be able to like lay in bed and play it on this little tiny screen and just like get some gaming in while I'm in bed. Total fantasy. I know that will never
You,
come
you
true.
you know you can have a TV in your bedroom, right? And you
Yeah.
can play
Yes.
while you're in bed. Oh,
See,
so actually your barrier, are you saying your barrier is the wife? Is that the barrier to being able
well,
to do this?
it's like, you never know. There's so many factors. It's like, do I really want to spend $200 on a little tiny screen, or do I want to
Hmm.
lug in a TV? But I just like love the idea of some of these things where I just fantasize about them. Like, let me just like, maybe I'll just pull the trigger on this little monitor.
I love that
So
our concepts
I
and
know.
wishes and dreams are so big, it's so crazy, and we'll get to them in a second. And yours is such a simple,
Matt's just like,
good-hearted,
I want to
good
play
guy.
games in bed.
yeah,
Yeah, I know,
that's it. It's
right?
just like as
Oh,
simple as
Lord.
that, but I know that I pull the trigger on it? Probably not. But man, I've been
You know,
looking at these portable monitors for probably like 3 years. No
we're gonna
joke.
have to
So
chip in one of these days and get you one.
Yeah. I
It's
smell a
thanks,
not
Jen.
birthday
Thanks.
present. We're like, we'll make his dreams come true for like
exactly.
$20.
I've
The
been
barrier
hankering.
really isn't that big, so
No,
but
no,
you
it
can
isn't.
you can dream bigger than that, with this question.
Very small minded in my fantasies at this point, but hey, that's me. So you guys
I
take it
think it's a
away.
good one, though. It's a good
Yeah.
one. Mine was 3 words, and that's Ready Player One. It's never going to
Thank you.
happen, but that is a world I want to live in. I want to experience that where you just get completely transported into a virtual reality. I don't want to have a headache. I want to be able to not wear my
Thank you.
glasses and still be able to see. Like that's the dream, is to not wear my glasses in a VR and be able to see things still. And the way Ready Player One did it, that imagining of that world where it's just completely immersive and you walk around and you live in it, like, ugh, that sounds so good. I want that. I want
I would
that. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be in that and then play video games in bed and just like live out my fantasy.
right? You can
Yes.
have a small TV in the Ready
Yes,
Player One
inside the
There
universe.
you
world,
go.
yeah. But I'll be
Exactly.
dressed up as like Ezio or something.
Oh,
For
nice. There you
sure.
go.
I love it.
Well, no,
I'm
that's a good one.
completely
Quality
yeah.
VR would be super nice.
Yeah.
Well, that was where I was going with mine too, because VR just makes me completely nauseous. So
Yeah.
I would love if they would be able to figure that out. But I said, okay, for sure, one step further is just holodeck. Like you don't even have, the
Yeah.
headset you have to wear. You have a separate room in your house that is just dedicated to a holodeck and any sort of holograms. In fact, I think that's got to be the next thing that TVs start to do. Is like TVs have done everything they can do. They can't get any sharper. They can't get any more colorful, but they can get less flat. And we all grew up playing that little holographic game with the cowboy. Do you guys remember that one in the arcades at all? It was a
Oh,
weird,
yes. Yeah.
yeah. So like, I'm telling you, that's
Where it
going to
was
be the
just
future.
light being shined up against the thing, right? Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And that is what I'm saying. Holographic stuff could be really cool, and it also could be our future. I also said a rock band with real guitars. Like, I know that exists, but it's not popular right now. And I wish it would become the norm because I think about all the time that I spent playing rock band, and I would definitely jump back into it if they had an affordable real guitar that I could learn to play, because you're not just playing, then you're actually getting an actual skill, but it can't cost a quadrillion dollars, because that's where I call
Do
the
you know
line
what
on
that
that
thing
one.
offhand, what that thing costs right now?
I believe the system was called Rocksmith, and that was the
Yes.
game, and it was pretty pricey.
It was. I think, like, honestly, off the top of my head, it was like $150 or $200. It was pretty
Yeah.
expensive. When I was working at Best Buy, I mean, all those were still the rage. Even the Connect. I remember we had the Connect little
Yeah, good days.
demo. We had the Guitar Hero. Man, I'm trust me, I miss like the Guitar Hero era. That stuff was
Guitar
so
Hero
much
was a
fun.
lot of fun.
It was a blast.
And then if I'm going to be even more far-fetched with my dreaming and hoping, and it would be that Sony goes back to making single-player games and Xbox embraces its own console and doesn't try and, to get us to go play games elsewhere.
Those are your biggest fantasies yet.
Yeah,
I'll
it
have Ready
is.
Player One
Like,
before that happens.
yeah, don't hold your breath on that one, Dan. Great fantasies, gentlemen. Let's see if we
Yeah.
can make them happen.
Great
We
question.
can
I
make one
appreciate
happen,
it.
Lord.
Yeah, I know, right? Good question, though. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
And then, Molding, I know you had a question for us as well.
Oh yeah, mine was because we haven't really talked about it being the new year, and resolutions is not really my thing. But I was curious if you guys had any gaming resolutions for 2025, and I'll kick that off. Is that I make fun of this game incessantly, but I never finished it. It is at its core a very excellent game. It's gorgeous, but I really want to play through Red Dead Redemption 2 this year and finish it. I think so. That's my first one. I make fun of it a lot. It's really, really tedious, but it's gorgeous, and it is at this lived-in world that I felt I left too quickly. So I do want to run through it again. So that was my first one.
That's a great one. I want to prepare you for the ending, because when you think the game's over, the epilogue is quite lengthy. Personally, I loved the hell out of the epilogue because it's so uncommon, and they really went the extra mile, and it was probably one of my favorite parts of the game. But I just don't want you to think like, oh, I'm done, and then you're like, what the heck is this? Because whoo,
all
doggy.
Right. Good note. Good note.
Yeah,
but
I didn't finish
definitely
that
worth
blog.
it.
That ish was long as hell. I was like,
I did.
the regular game was so long. This is already
Ugh.
going.
Yeah.
No, but that sounds like a good start
Yeah.
to 2025 because Red Dead 2 is great. For me, I'm gonna finish Kingdom Come Deliverance soon. I'm playing on the Steam Deck. It plays really great on the Steam Deck and looks really great. I've been actually doing some screen capturing because I'm like, this game looks awesome. This is crazy. And then I'm gonna play that sequel with a clear conscience as soon as I know that I beat the first one and take on the second one. So that's my early
That's excellent.
2025. Yeah. That's my
That's
first
a great one, because I always wanted to like that series. I am kind of very, interested in the second one. It's just the first one's gameplay wasn't quite there for me, and
Yeah,
hopefully,
it didn't.
maybe they fix things in the next go around.
There were no
Yeah.
dragons in it, so I wasn't really interested.
I like it's like a very grounded medieval game, and once you get the combat down a little more, it really starts to click, and I'm having a good time.
Nice.
What about you, Dan?
I would say my one of my resolutions involves you two jabronis. I had such a good time with our Mario Party stream, and it did pretty well. I would love to do more streams in the new year with us. I'm not exactly sure how we would set it up. So if any of our users know like a 3-person streaming software or 4-person streaming software, if we do it all in the same room, that's great. I like to do games that are new and current. So maybe the new Mario Kart that's coming out for Switch 2, we're going to do a live stream. You're hearing it first. I'm more, it's all coming together. I'm telling you. So we'll definitely do a stream for the Mario on the new Switch 2. But I'd love to I had such a good time with you guys doing that. So I'd love to do more of that on our channel.
Yeah, I think we need lav mics for it. I really like something where we're each mic'd, because you couldn't really hear us very well.
That costs money.
I know. I know.
Well,
and then I had another one. I had another one. Is that I am going to finish a game. If I buy a game, whatever game I buy this coming year in 2025, I'm going to finish it before I buy a new game. And that is a pledge to myself that I will finish a game before I buy a new game, because I just have too many games in my backlog now that I bought and then forgot about, and then a new game comes out and I buy it and then forget about it when a new game comes out, and it's just this vicious cycle. So I'm going to finish games this year.
We're already done with the fantasy segment, Malding. Come on.
Oh, good one.
Ooh, good one.
That was a good burn.
Get the zingers. Good job.
There you go.
I think that sounds like a great one,
yeah.
but at the same time, it's like video games are supposed to be fun. And the way the video games are pretty much built, the developers put everything right in the first few hours because they know not everyone makes it to the end. So that by the time you're on hour 40, it's just so tedious and it's no longer fun. So while I support your quest, if you break your resolution sooner rather than later, I wouldn't blame you just by the way that the video games are made and the fact that this hobby is supposed to be fun. And if you're not having fun, then get the hell out.
Agreed.
Yeah, I bought Cult of the Lamb, not having the most fun
Oh,
I've ever had in my life.
No.
Yeah, it's okay.
Sorry, brother.
It's okay.
Dang. Well, my second one, honestly, I just want to play some Mario Kart 8 Deluxe with my 2-year-old daughter. And maybe
some Mario
Splatoon.
Kart 9.
Maybe some Mario Kart 9 too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, do you think they're going to, I hope they bundle it because that would be nice if they.
There's no way they're going to do that because they don't want to leave money on the table. But no, I love the idea of playing video games with your daughter, Ro, and getting her, addicted.
I know.
Early.
I said, sorry, Audrey, in parentheses at the end, because I know Audrey won't like that so much, but I know she loves video games already. I can already just tell this. And
I mean, it's bonding time with your daughter more than anything else, right?
And Mario Kart is just so wholesome. Even Splatoon is so wholesome that I feel like those games are just, they're no brainers. Like I feel like to introduce into games.
I mean, throw her into the deep end, Grand Theft Auto. When that comes out, just toss her right in.
Teach her to pick up the hookers and then have the power bounce and then go shank the hooker in the alley and get your money back. I mean, it's a family friendly game. So
you're right. I don't know. Why not just start there? Nothing's stopping us.
Yep. Honestly, like some of the best memories were playing with my stepdad. My parents never played video games, but my stepdad did. And that's what really made him so cool, that he came into my world, played games with me. I will never forget Super Mario Brothers, playing with him. And that's why I love him so much. And we're still friends today.
I have really fun mememories of playing Bubble Bobble with my mom. And I totally get that for sure.
So yes, we highly approve as gamers to spend time with your daughter.
For sure. I'll keep everyone updated on that development.
Please do. Then my last resolution, and the one that I'm most guilty of, is I get into a game. I'm like, oh man, this is a great game. I love this game so much. I just want to play this game forever. So then I go and I buy the DLC for the game because I'm so into the game. And then 48 hours later, when I roll credits, I'm like, I'm so effing sick of this game. I'm not going to touch that effing DLC with a 10-foot pole. Get it, delete. And I'm like, when I'm super hyped and excited about a game, I go out and spend money on it. And I've got to control that a little bit. So no DLC for me.
Yeah.
Until later.
I'm going to glom onto that as well and do the same and say the same thing. Because I did it with Cult of the Lamb. I bought the whole package of DLCs.
Oh, man.
I know.
Oh, it's okay.
No, I think that's a good one.
I steered you wrong, brother.
No, it's a great game. I just don't like the gameplay. I just don't like, which is a pretty important part.
Yeah,
that
is
for sure. Good stuff.
All right, well, that pretty much wraps up everything we've got for this week. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. If you're listening on a podcast, please tell a friend. And on behalf of Matt Malding, Matt Lord, and myself, Dan Whitehill, thanks for joining us. And as always, good playing with you.
Good playing with you.
Good playing with you.